Hello, future and new residents of the United States. Today we are going to be talking about some things that are completely normal in the US that you might consider odd depending on where you're from. Who am I? I'm an international teacher recruiter and I've helped hundreds of teachers move to the US, so I've seen what works, what doesn't, and I am here to use that expertise and give you some advice before you come. So without further ado, let's get started, and please like this video and subscribe to my channel. So the first thing I want to let you all know is that small talk in the US, especially in the South, is very normal. So if you're in a big city like New York or Miami, even though Miami is in the South, South Florida's got its own thing, people are probably not going to be having small talk with you. But in most of the US, small talk is very common. So what does this mean? You might go to a grocery store and someone will say, "Hey, how are you?" And that doesn't mean you need to get into all your business, but you definitely want to be polite, say, smile, say, "Hey, I'm doing well, thank you, how are you?" Some people might say like, "Oh, it's beautiful weather today." You're expected to then also say something about the weather. I did spend a lot of time in Sweden. In Sweden, small talk is not common at all. So depending on where you're from, this might be different from what you're used to. And again, this is not an invitation to talk about your problems. Some people might, go into that. You might say, "Hey, how are you?" And they'll say, "Oh, horrible, I'm this, I'm that." You don't need to get into that. So if you kind of feel uncomfortable with small talk, all you have to do is just smile and say, "Oh, I'm doing well, thank you, how are you?" And then they'll probably say, "I'm doing well." So you don't have to get into a huge long conversation if you don't want to. So this is very different for a lot of people around the world, especially Europeans. In Kenya, I see this too. They don't like it. All of our drinks, pretty much, unless you ask for something hot, like a hot cup of coffee, are going to be cold. Not only that, typically if you go to a restaurant, they're going to automatically put ice in your drink. So if you ask for a water, they'll put ice in your water. A soda, same thing. Again, coffee, tea are the only exceptions, but what is extremely popular in the US is iced coffee and iced tea. So unless you kind of say, "Oh, I want an iced coffee and iced tea," typically they'll bring it to you hot, but all other beverages pretty much will be cold, and if at least and typically with ice. If there's no ice, it'll at least be very cold, but they'll almost always give you some ice. So in the US, we have kind of a interesting relationship with money. A lot of people want to move to the US for greener pastures, and we do have a huge culture around money. Money is glorified everywhere you go. Everyone wants to make money, especially in America, right? And people work very, very hard. Do not think that it will come easily. You really will work very hard in the US, but the sky is also the limit. So even though a lot of our culture revolves around money, and people will talk about their car payment, their mortgage, a vacation they just went on, something they're working towards. "Oh, next year, if I have the money, I'm gonna buy a boat," something like that. You never, ever, ever ask someone, "How much did that cost? How much is your mortgage?" You can ask for something small, like let's say someone got, a new phone on sale. "Oh, you got it on sale? Yeah, it was 20% off. Oh, how much was that? Oh man, next Black Friday, I'm gonna try to get that too." Something like that is okay, but you never wanna ask someone how much money they make, how much their house costs, how much their car costs, even if people are openly discussing money. That is very, very rude, and it will not look good upon you. So I would completely avoid that. And people will be open about the cost of things. "Oh, inflation is rising, groceries are so expensive." But, they won't say, "I got a raise and this is how much money I'm making now." They might tell you, "Oh, I got a raise, I'm so happy," but they will never tell you how much money they're making. And it's so that maybe you're making less money. They don't want you to feel bad. Maybe you're making more money. They don't want to feel inferior. So you never want to ask anyone these sort of personal questions ever. So something, depending on where you're from, that might be a little bit overwhelming to you is the sheer size of things in the US, especially our grocery stores. Many times with teachers from Kenya, their first time in a grocery store in the US is very overwhelming for them. It like you can see it on their face, and they just get a few things and that's it. They want to leave. So in the US, typically, we do have something called farmers markets where you can go and it is like a market, you know, people grow the food and you can buy it. But typically 99% of people on their day-to-day life are shopping at a grocery store, and they are massive. So that means there's endless choices, even when it comes to something like milk. We've got whole milk, 2% milk, 1% milk, skim milk, soy milk, almond milk, coconut milk, macadamia nut milk, a million types of milk. So this can be very overwhelming for you if you're not used to that. And then probably whatever grocery store you're going to, there's another one that is way bigger than that somewhere along the lines. We also have a superstore, so it's huge. In Texas, they're kind of saying is everything's bigger in Texas. And because the US is a huge country, you know, different places have their own culture. When I went to Texas, I was like, oh my gosh, it is true. Things are huge here. But you will probably have that experience when you come to the US, especially when you go to a grocery store. Even the streets are designed for cars. So it's not like Europe where you've got these tiny streets and people like big cars. So you will see a lot of big things, and it could be overwhelming for you when you first get there, but I can tell you I've seen how overwhelming it can be for people, and this is totally normal, and this will go away in a week or two once you're used to it. So not everything, but a lot of things are very big in the US, including distances, right? If you look at the US by itself, it is almost like a continent, right? Of course, Canada is a huge country, and so is Mexico as well, but the US is massive too. So one thing that is probably not going to be normal for you is how far and long distances are. So if someone asks me, and this is true when I used to work somewhere else, oh, how long does it take you to get to work? Oh, 45 minutes to an hour. People would say, oh, that's not so bad. And it's true. Even though that is a really, really long distance for some people, for me, it's not bad at all. And right now I am in Doha, Qatar. And, you know, it's so funny how my frame of reference shifts, right? If something is 20 minutes away in Doha, I'm like, oh, that's so far away. But if something is an hour away in my hometown in the US, I think, oh, it's not bad, whatever. Because for me, it's normal. I drive all the time, especially for my work. You know, sometimes I'm driving 2, 3, 4, even 5 hours. Sometimes I fly to work because that's just how far distances are. So when you're looking at where you want to live, you also want to figure out how far away your house or apartment will be from your work. And another thing is people don't really walk that much here unless you live in a big city. So you're gonna need a car, or you need someone who has a car, and it is because those distances are so long. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit more about American culture and what to expect when you get here, or maybe you're new and this will help you out. And please like and subscribe and share this video to someone that you think it can help. Thank you so much. See you next time.